Racing to the 2026 Kentucky Derby, and this time, let's get an update. It was Remsen Day, all part of the Cigar Mile Day in New York, the Remsen and the Demoiselle Stakes. Points races on the road to the Kentucky Oaks and Derby 2026. Had some impressive pedigrees entered, and we'll take a look at both these stakes races. Meanwhile, we'll take a look at the inaugural stakes. Kind of kicks off the two-year-old season, soon to be three-year-olds at Tampa Bay. Then we've got some speed figure updates from last week on the stakes trail. But let's start it off at the Big A, New York, on Saturday. Of course, the Remsen and the Demoiselle Stakes are a little bit unique because they're both run at 1.125 miles on the dirt. We start off with the Remsen Stakes. Big field. And this race, I think people were looking at a couple of horses out of a maiden race. We had a controversial DQ with Paladin and Renegade. Paladin and Renegade running in a maiden race. Then you had an impressive winner, Igniter, who beat a couple of comeback winners. Some people thought that might be a key race. And then Talkin had rallied for second in the Grade 1 Champagne Stakes. So that was a look at the field. Grittiness, a maiden, I did, shipped in from Kentucky. A recent winner, Balboa, a winner of a stakes race at Laurel Park. Now, dirt, 1.125 miles, two-year-olds, and sometimes we get some slow fractions. Leading him into the stretch was Balboa, trying to deliver the knockout punch, but Paladin and Renegade were right behind. Let's pick up the stretch run. They were talked about after that maiden race. Paladin on the outside, Renegade to his inside. Kind of what looked like what happened in the maiden race. Renegade was more to the inside, and then Paladin was to the outside. Talkin never really fired in this race. He was bet down a little bit, but Paladin looks like he'll go 1.125 miles, and Paladin overall off the pace picks up this win for trainer Chad Brown. He's officially 2 for 2, and a lot of similarities to Sierra Leone a couple of years ago. Sierra Leone ran second in the Remsen after breaking this maiden, high-priced yearling horse. He's by Gun Runner. Paladin doesn't have as bad of a stride. So Paladin, the trainer, is Chad Brown. The sire is Gun Runner. Gun Runner got a lot of support last week in that sire pool at 9-2. Now, a lot of times, trainer Chad Brown likes to go to that Risen Star because he likes to start him out in that three-year-old campaign at 1.125 miles. So that usually gets a big field, gives him almost 50 days off. We'll see if Paladin comes back or if he sticks around for the Wood Memorial. Now, Paladin has been getting some play. He was 41-1 in Pool 1 of the Kentucky Derby Future Wagers, 22-1 in Pool number 2. Now, the chart of the race, Paladin officially the favorite at 1.88. 2.97 for Renegade. They ran 1-2. Courting, the other Todd Pletcher horse, was 6-1. He ran an even fourth, but overall, this was a little bit slower on the clock for the final time than the Demoiselle. We'll compare fractions after we look at the Demoiselle Stakes, but Paladin picked up the pieces on a faster pace. Now, Renegade, I thought he ran well. He's ran well in a couple of starts now. The sire is into mischief. Todd Pletcher, the trainer, of course, we'll see where he goes next, but Gulfstream or coming back to New York could be some of the options. I think Courting will probably stay on that New York trail. We'll see where he goes. Paladin picks up the 10 points for the winner. Renegade some points for running second. And now let's take a look at the Demoiselle Stakes. A lot smaller field, big favorite. Zany was 6-5 on the morning line. Bet down to 3-5 on the board. Zany picks up the win for Todd Pletcher. Speed, a little bit different race shape. Opened up into the stretch up by 4 lengths. Ran faster on the clock, but that's because she got going quicker and opened up into the stretch. Now, Zany winning this race, kind of geared down late, but again, she opened up by 4, won by over 8 lengths. She's a nice looking filly, 2 for 2, and a lot of options, but most likely going down to Gulfstream Park for Zany for the Oaks Road. Although Todd Pletcher does like to go to Tampa Bay, sometimes for a prep before the Ashland Stakes. Zany is sired by American Pharoah. 2 starts, 2 wins, Todd Pletcher trains, and Zany picks up the win in the Demoiselle Stakes. Now let's look at the chart. Wins by 8 lengths, up by 4, which means she kind of got going earlier, opened up, and then relaxed late. A little bit different running style than the chart, where they went a little bit faster for the opening quarter and the opening half, and the Balboa could not sustain that speed. I thought Zany looked good with Irad Ortiz winning this race. She picks up 10 points on the road to the Kentucky Oaks, joins the Oaks leaderboard, and lots of options for Zany picking up that win. Now let's take a look at the raw fractions. What I like about the Remsen and the Demoiselle, same day, same racetrack, same distance, and there was really no weather issues. They ran a little bit further apart. Demoiselle was a little bit earlier, but notice Remsen went faster for the opening quarter and the opening half. Then the Demoiselle picked it up in the 6 furlong mark, and a faster mile fraction and a faster final time. It's going to be interesting what the speed figure comes up, but Zany, based on the final time, should have a faster speed figure. We'll see what comes up. We'll update those next week. But again, this is a little bit more of an example how pace makes the race. They went quicker early in the Remsen, faster late, and Zany more of a sprint pedigree, cruising down the stretch, and picked up a good final time of 1:50 3/5. Now, we go down to Tampa Bay, the inaugural stakes. Solito Dude, he's by Yapon, a freshman sire, trained by Safi Joseph. 1-9 on the board. They said he couldn't lose after the big debut victory, and he made that 1-9 look like value. Solitude Dude, the 7 horse, comes from just off the pace, waltzes on in by over 9 lengths. Solitude Dude showing some speed. He's now 2 for 2, and lots of options after winning that inaugural stakes for Safi Joseph. This was a nice win. I thought he relaxed off the speed early on and then kind of cruised down the lane. Now, how far the Yupons are going to go, you know, he was pretty much a sprinter, trained by Steve Asmussen, lightly raced, but he's had a good freshman crop of horses. Solitude Dude, does he go to the Pasco and take the Tampa Bay road? Safi Joseph does run a lot of his good horses down at Tampa Bay, and they're usually bet off the board. I think we might see him in the Holy Bull. You got to step up. He's in sharp form. He's got speed. That could be the type of horse that wins the Holy Bull Stakes for Solitude Dude. Now, last week we had the Kentucky Jockey Club. Further ado, winning that one. He regressed from his 98 Beyer in the maiden race where he won by 20. He picked up an 81 last week. Timeform US had a little bit better with a 105, but overall, the Further Ado speed figure did go down from his maiden win. Now, the other hand, Boyd got an 85 on the Beyer, so Beyer had Boyd with a higher speed figure. Timeform US had Boyd with a lot higher speed figure, but that was a sprint race, the Ed Brown Stakes, at 6.5 furlongs. Boyd, will he stretch out? He has a little bit more sprinty type pedigree and a little bit more fast twitch muscles. He looks more like a sprinter, but he's fast, and sometimes you can get those horses to stretch out. We'll see if he goes back to California or if he goes to Oaklawn Park. Boyd winning last week. Now we go down to Florida last week, Gulfstream Park, championship meet. Strategic Risk running in the In Reality division. He kind of flattened out here in his 5th lifetime start, made a big move from 3rd. He was 6-1, and he just rolled down the stretch, beat the 6-5 favorite, who really had nothing in the stretch. Strategic Risk, you know, with that extra experience, this was a big move forward, and Strategic Risk looked good down the lane. He could be a Holy Bull type horse. He could maybe go to Tampa. Of course, the sire is Noble Bird. The trainer is Mark Cassie. Strategic Risk, a winner of that Florida In Reality Stakes. The road to the Kentucky Derby continues. We've still got 3 races in 2025. The Gunrunner Stakes kicks off the Fairgrounds Road. We've got the Los Al Futurity next week, and we've also got the Springboard Mile from Remington, all points races. Of course, Oaklawn Park opens next week. We'll start seeing some maiden winners there. But an interesting day on the trail. We had Paladin picking up 10 points. We had the filly Zany, 2 for 2 now. She picks up 10 points. Some good impressive runners. And what did you think of the Demoiselle and the Remsen? Leave a comment. What did you think of Paladin and Renegade? And what do you think of them moving forward right here? Remember what D. Wayne Lucas always said, people have opinions, horses have the facts.